us a little bit about Exchange, Kyle, because I actually haven't got to play this one yet, and I want to.
Hi, Steph. This is another kind of light strategy game that we just launched that we're super excited about. This was actually originally Kickstarted, and then Bicycle acquired it and worked with the designer locally here in Cincinnati. Here we're based, and now we're kind of bringing it out to retail stores around the country. But in Exchange, it's all your goal, like any stock market game, is to become the wealthiest person. And in this phase, in this game, it has a bit of a deduction aspect to it. So the game plays over 5 rounds as well. And what you'll see is there's a market board that has the value, and you see 3 tokens on the screen there. There's a blue token, which stands for banks. There's a green token, which has bonds, and then a orange token that is insurance. And each player in the game actually has a board, a ledger board. And each player in the game is a character. And each of these characters are like the original founders of the stock market. So we didn't just invent the names. They came a little bit of history there. But every player starts out with their board being in a different location. So I have Samuel here, and I start out with 5 banks, 5 bonds, and 5 insurance. And I just slide my little my board here. I will note that one of the things that we did with this game is really kind of in all of our games is really focus on high quality components. So this like slider system, especially if you're moving them around, it's really great to keep score throughout the game. So this is kind of how I set the game up, and then everybody has a certain amount of cash to begin with. So my Samuel had $250. So in each round of the game now, it has 3 phases. In the first phase, each player is going to secretly select banks, bonds, or insurance. And you have these envelopes and these cards. And what you do is choose one, and then you put it in the envelope and kind of face it down, and then everybody reveals at once. So I for example, I'll choose insurance. I'll kind of play virtually here. So let's have one player choose insurance, and one player, it looks like somebody's bonds on screen. So,
are you trying
and
to
then one
match
player
people,
is banks as well.
Different?
Bonds, banks.
Okay, bonds, banks. I'm kind of playing on my screen at home, so I can keep track of this. So everybody kind of reveals these simultaneously, and you start to see what are the other players doing. So if I'm the green player and I did bonds, I see that the other player there's another player who did bonds and another player who did banks. So I know bonds players probably going to want to either buy, they're going to want to buy or sell, which is what we choose in the next phase. So in the next phase, each player will, it's called phase 2, and you have these cards that have buy on one side and sell on the other. And you can buy or sell as many stocks as you can. So if you buy, you can buy as many as you have cash for, or you can sell as many as you have currently on your ledger board. So everybody secretly does this, but when you choose and everybody flips over, you will only see the action. You won't see the number. So in this one, we have player 1 to the left here is going to sell bonds, and then player 2 is buying bonds, and player 3 is selling banks. So now we have a little bit of conflict, because player 1 want to sell, and you want to sell when the value is high. Player 2 wants to buy, and you want to buy when the value is low. So there's a little bit of conflict there. And then the banks person is just kind of out there. They want to sell banks. So they want the price of banks to be high. And in the next phase, what we're going to do is everybody gets a chance to manipulate the market. So they will have a card. called an Influent Card, and they can cause any of these three assets to go up, in value by 1 or down in value by 1. So we will secretly choose there. So the everybody's so that player 2 would probably actually want the bond to go down. Is that -1 or is that +1?
That was a
Can't tell on the
plus.
screen. Yeah, let's do a negative because they want to buy when the price is cheap.
Okay.
So everybody then reveals, and then we adjust the value of those on the board. So insurance will go up 1, the orange. The green bonds will go down 1, and then the banks will go up 1. And then we also flip over a market forces card. So up on the top left near the board. And these are every round there's a random event that happens. So I cannot read that one on the screen.
Lowered interest rates trigger. Oops. Lower interest rates trigger a housing boom and cause bond values to rise.
So does it say
then the
bonds
bonds would
plus
go
or minus?
Bonds plus 2.
Oh,
Yeah, so now the green will go up 2.
the second
board.
player won't be happy with that.
Yeah, so now we kind of resolve everything that happened in the board. So if player 1, they had sell, and then can you reveal the number, how many on player 1?
7.
Okay, so they had bonds. Did they have 7 actually on the board, on the ledger board?
looks like they had 4.
They had 4.
Oh, we kind of cheated there.
Okay.
So let's say they did 4. That,
All right.
that number was 4.
4. Sure.
They would sell 4, and they would get 4 times 60 in cash.
4
And
times
their
60.
board would go down to 0.
Okay.
2, 4.
Yeah. Down to 0. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go.
Yep. And then we kind of just resolve every other, all the other players as
Does
well.
the
So
market value
player 2
go down
was
at that
buying
point?
bonds. And how many did they buy?
They bought 6.
6. And
And
6
again.
times. Let's see if they had enough cash. No, so they're buying. So they would gain 6.
Okay, so
But
they
it
were
was
at 5.
probably $240. So let's hope they had $240.
They did not. They only had.
But let's,
Oh yes, they did. 250. So we get some
okay,
change.
so all their cash goes into the bank. And then player 3 was going to sell banks. Hopefully the number's low here.
5.
5. Did they have 5?
No. Banks. They had.
They sold everything.
They sold everything.
This is the challenge of online demonstrations. So, so they would get the cash 60 times 5, so they would get 300 in cash. Now, that's how kind of one round works. One of the unique things about the game, so on the market value board, you see that if one of these assets is at the 90 mark and somebody causes it to go up, you burst the bubble. And it literally will then go all the way down to 10. And if you're at 10 and make it go down, the value of that can go all the way up to 90. And so you can have a dramatic turn in fortune, just like the real stock market. You could become really rich or really poor really fast. And as you go through the 5 rounds, you're kind of out trying to strategize against your opponents. What will they do? What will this person do? And which ones they want to increase. So very kind of, you're trying to outthink your opponent type of a game. Doesn't last too long, 30 to 45 minutes again. Light strategy, but you can play this with people who are just getting in the hobby. it's a great way to make more gamers out there.
Is this is available today? People can buy it. Can they
Yes.
play it on Tabletopia like the other alpha, or?
We don't have Tabletopia on this one 100% polished. It's a little bit more difficult to play online just because you got all these envelopes and things. But it is available local game stores, online. It's everywhere in North America right now, and it'll be coming to Europe later this year.
Excellent. So we can look for that today. Is there anything else briefly that you wanted to mention about Exchange real fast while we have a few minutes, or?
No, I will just not Exchange specifically. We got a few more games that are coming out. I'll just mention them for people.
Yeah.
The first one is Fumbling Ferrets, which is a word game for the Fast and Furious. So this is a really kind of fun, very fast word game. So the idea is you're buying letters, and then you have to form words. And then once everybody buys all the letters, you only have 30 seconds to form your words. So it's kind of that fumbling part of I need to make a word really fast. The game only takes, you can play that one in 10 or 15 minutes sometimes. It's really fast and very friendly for both families and adults. That just came out online. It's coming to local game stores, going through distribution right now. And then we have an adult party game that just came out called The Sweet and Spicy Truth. And that is where you're trying to learn about your friends, what they would do. So there's situations, and they pick, would that person do A or B, and then they reveal. So that one is adult. So, but it's not offensive from adult standpoint. So, it's okay if, somebody who's not, grandma walks behind the couch is not going to get in much trouble. We like to use the Jimmy Fallon rules. So if it appears on night TV, it's okay, but it's not going over the top. And those are available now as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing Exchange and the Sweet and Spicy. Those all sound great. Thank you very much, Kyle from Bicycle Games, for joining us.